Okay, testing. Hopefully we're live right now. I think that we should be. Not showing my screen because I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. But this is like my third time streaming, and two of them were on the exact same day, trying to just like figure everything out, like what was happening. So we're gonna see what happens here. But I'm not feeling like editing. This is definitely something that's gonna be interesting for me. Not showing my screen because going forward. All right, there I can see myself trying to figure all this stuff out, but sounds good. It's like my third time streaming, and two of them were on the exact same day, trying to just like figure everything out, like what was happening. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm still working on all this stuff, and I'm gonna try my absolute hardest to look at the camera for like the majority of this. I just have one issue, which is right now I'm using this like hack thing where I'm using my Canon M100, my Canon M100 as a 1 second. I need to get so I can see chat if anybody messages me. I'm trying to use my Canon M100 as a webcam because it's just like a really nice camera, and I saw these videos talking about how like I think it's f2.2 22mm lens for the Canon M100 f2 22mm lens. Yeah. How this is just like super duper nice. So I ended up buying it just because like man, so many people recommended it on YouTube. They're saying like if you get this camera, you have to get this lens. It's a total game changer. You can like use it for all kinds of stuff. Just it's basically like can fit in your phone. Fit in your phone. Can fit in your pocket. Which like you may need to have some pretty big pockets. It's still a chunky camera. But the issue is I can't see myself on like the little screen. Like it has a just I guess I can show it. Like this 1 second. I have an idea. So here we go. Oh, that looks garbage. Yeah. There we go. So you can see right there. That's actually crispy. You can see right there that it has a pop-up screen, but pop-up screen is showing me absolutely nothing, which I don't know why that is, because I don't know, man. They just made this hack. This guy called Floppy Soft, I guess. But uses like some sort of weird scripting thing for the Canon cameras in order to show like use it as a webcam. And I'm just using like a really cheap HDMI like grabber is what he says on the website. I'll show you what I'm seeing right now, but it's just on GitHub. And then it's telling me that like all the downsides to this stuff, but it looks like I'm supposed to set buffering to disable. So I'm gonna do that real quick. See if I can change that. Buffering auto detect. I'll disable it. See if that changes anything. Push OK. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna change anything or not, but inside of my very limited experience, it's been working pretty good. My biggest complaint is just what I was talking to you guys about, the flip up screen no longer showing anything, but it does remove this nasty stuff, which is super nice for me. I mean, this is kind of janky as it is, but if it was janky with this stuff right here, that would be a real letdown. Anyway, Aptera. Basically, I just want to talk about Aptera because it's been super interesting for me. Just watching this company over the past couple of years. It popped up on my YouTube recommended a while ago. It's just like this crazy new startup company, and I'm pretty impressed with everything that they've been able to do. Specifically, just like the range on it is crazy. 1,000 miles is the kind of top spec thing. It's talking about that right here, as well as the 40 miles of solar powered driving per day, which is crazy. It's literally just like what it's saying right here, 30% of the energy compared to other electric and hybrid vehicles on the road today. Like, it's the most efficient shape for like any vehicle literally ever, which is wild. That ends up being a really weird shape, it turns out. So most cars aren't using something that looks like this. Like, it's got 3 wheels. It's got this weird tear shaped thing. But yeah, that 0.13 is just like you're looking at it in comparison to, say, a Tesla Model 3. Literally dropping it by 0.10. Like, you're getting to that solar racer kind of level where it's like literally. And solar racers are super cool. But just like going as the farthest distance possible just using solar panels. But those are really impractical for like daily commuting. This is a lot more practical. I'm super interested inside of this car and just like seeing what happens. But like specifically why I think that this car could very easily change how every other car company has to compete is because you're just changing the game in a way that Teslas just really can't. Right now, if you have a electric vehicle, you're still having to charge it. And if you put solar panels on like a Tesla, like, you're not getting that 40 miles per hour range, or that 40 miles of extra range. You're getting like maybe 20, a little bit less than that. Like, no matter what, you're still going to be losing out at the end of the day. You're still going to have to charge. I mean, maybe there's some edge case where like you live in a very sunny place, you live very close to your job, but for the vast number of consumers, like, they would still have to charge their car, which is a step in the right direction. And like, there are so many benefits to EVs, but it's not like this like dynamic shift that Aptera is doing, where like you just could potentially never plug your car in again. It just goes for free. Like, something that I've been thinking would be super cool for the longest time is just getting to the point where transportation for you becomes actually free. Which is very difficult to do, and like it's one of those things where your car's not really paying itself off unless like it's an Uber, maybe. And even then, like, that's a tool that you're using. But like, if you buy yourself a hammer and lets you like do your job, I guess you could say the hammer's paying itself off. But with something like a solar powered car, what I'm seeing is like you could do something similar to where the Ford trucks can now hook up to the houses and then are used like a electric generator, kind of. Like, it's a generator, it's a solar panel, all that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing is just like transportation's free. Like, you're making a one-time payment to like buy this car. It's that's another thing that's wild. And I'm going to pull that up in a second. But if you go to their configurator right here for reserve now, and you drop down to the cheapest one. Well, let me do that. Yeah, well, let me do that. With the panels, which like you're gonna want the panels, and all-wheel drive, which like I would highly suggest. I mean, you're going from 6 seconds here to 4 seconds with like literally just. It's $2,500. That's worth it, I'd say. You have a under $30,000 car. Shoot. I'm trying to watch on my iPad so I can look at the framing. So if you guys hear echo there, then that's what's happening. Okay. See if I can get this set up so I'm still pretty well in frame. There we go. Okay. That should work pretty well for me. So I'm gonna switch to full screen here. Yeah, but basically, what so many people have been talking about is finally getting down to the $30,000 car like level. Like that's kind of been the goal here. I personally bought like used cars my entire life, so that $30,000 doesn't mean too much for me. I'll probably be waiting until this comes down a little bit more, even until like it's kind of used. It's more affordable for me, and that's where I'm gonna probably start seeing this kind of thing. But whenever it's 30,000 at the beginning of it, and then it starts dropping down, that's a lot better still. Basically, what I'm saying is like people have been saying electric vehicles will become like this massive thing whenever they drop down to like $30,000. And what this company, what Aptera is doing, is they're starting at like 33,000, which after you get the tax credits and everything else that like may apply to this, and my understanding is that it should apply to this, then you are under that $30,000. I don't know. I find it super duper cool. Hmm. Let's look at this. So, oh gosh, my frame is kind of falling apart here. Oh, but yeah, $30,000 car, 4 seconds 0 to 60, and you literally never charge again. What's a game changer for me is like the 1,000 miles of range, where like you're talking about what for me right now. That's literally 3 tanks of gas. So that's 3 times that I would have to stop during a road trip to like get gas that I just no longer have to do. That's the like phase shift that I'm talking about, where I'm saying like there's electric vehicles which are massive. They're super duper fast. There's all kinds of benefits there. But then you're talking about never charging your car again. That's completely different in my mind. It's a one time payment, and you can drive potentially for the rest of your life. Like Tesla's got that 1,000,000 mile like battery that they talk about. Um, I'm sure Aptera is gonna work on something like kind of similar. Like that's kind of the whole business plan. I feel like this could be something where it's like those grills from a while back that forgot they were called, but they were supposed to be like so good that people just like stopped buying replacements, and the company was like hurting financially because their products were so good. I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff that can happen with this kind of company. Like, obviously, they may just never go to market. They're talking about trying to raise like literally millions and millions of dollars right now, and I can just show you too. Let me go over here. So I go over to Aptera. They have like a leaderboard. Someone on here is like invest. Probably find it in a second. There's a leaderboard around here somewhere. Yeah, the leaderboard. They were talking about trying to raise I think it was 40 million, and the top person right now is like 26,000. Like admittedly they've only had this out for about a day, but still it's yeah, it's going to take a second. So we'll see how they do. I really want this car company to go to market just cuz like this is starting to get around the range where I could have potentially afford the car, which is super exciting, but we'll see what happens with it. I do like the setup so much more though now. I've always wanted to have like one of these handheld microphones, and as I do that, my audio just like craps out. But I've always thought this is so much cooler than having the mic stand. It's it's also practical. Like I'm able to breathe without tapping on it or anything. Tapping on, I don't know what I'm saying, man. Without breathing on it, like I just hold the mic away. So good too for like background noises, like dogs barking. Oh man, I do need to work on the framing though. This is still new. I just don't want to do like the editing for something like this. But we'll see. Another really cool feature about this car, I'd say feature. Another thing that I find really interesting about it is that it's like made into a bunch of small parts, kind of like what Tesla's doing with the giga castings, where they're just making it so instead of having like hundreds of pieces that you're just connecting together, you just have like 3 or 4 major pieces that you're connecting, and that just really simplifies the construction. You're making it so much more efficient. And that's interesting to me. Like my entire degree is supposed to be this like process engineering kind of thing. Like the name electromechanical engineering technology, it's a lot. But what it boils down to, it's out of my mind, is like a lot of this stuff is you're looking at an existing process, or you're looking at a process that needs to be started, and you're kind of designing it from like the ground for a lot of stuff, or you're upgrading stuff around it. But the company that's doing this the best that I've seen, that gets talked about the most because they're very open. I mean, maybe there's other companies that are doing very similar things and they're just not getting like that American Boaz on YouTube as an American is just like seeing it. Maybe that's part of the issue, but what I am seeing is like they're taking these radical steps where they're just reducing so much stuff that people are saying that like you have to have for these vehicles. Like I don't know. It's always been cool to me whenever it's not just this is what we're gonna do because this is like how it's always been done. It's like reading Elon's like biography and everything. It's not what has been done by like other companies, by like people before in the past. What's been done previously. It's what can be done, like from a physics standpoint. What is the physical cost of the materials for say a battery pack? Like not the current market price of a battery pack, but what is the current price of the components without the assembly? And he's taking that and he's saying, okay, so that's the price of like the stuff that has to be in the battery pack currently, which he still works on trying to improve that too. But then he's just like, so that's like the fundamental lowest level of it. Now we just have to be really, really clever about putting all that together. And that's what I'm seeing with Aptera too. Like they're saying we're not looking at like what people have done before really. We're looking at like what is feasibly possible. How much energy can we get from solar panels on like this small of a surface? It's not much. So how do we use less electricity to like power a vehicle moving? You reduce weight. I mean, like a lighter object's going to take less power to move. That's basic like physics. And then they say, okay, so we make a lighter vehicle, but aerodynamic drag is still like a massive issue. So then what do? They go into tons of wind tunnels. They run tons of computer simulations, and they're like, oh, we're going to take inspiration from literally people that are racing using only solar power, going as far as possible. The people that are the best in the game. And they like essentially take that design, make it into a vehicle that's like, I mean, we can look at some of the specs again. It's pretty nice. Where they're talking about like, man, where was it? 32.5 cubic feet of rear storage. It's got all these like this nice passenger seat. They have on the reserve page, they have a picture of like the interior. Like it's nice. It's a nice looking car. See, yeah, like right there. That's pretty nice. It's a pretty like standard looking car. It's got cup holders. Like it's not like you're just one person inside of a like an enclosed capsule you can't get out of with like no safety. And it's just like you just cruising down the perfectly straight hill. Perfectly straight hill. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a side course or anything. Like it's a car. You can go on the road. You can go on road trips. But yeah. 32 cubic feet of like storage. It's just a really interesting company to me. I think that if they can do what they're promising, which is big if, massive if, like making one of anything is easy according to like the people that are really good at this stuff, which is like Elon Musk, freaking Rivian, those kind of companies. People that are succeeding in the space are saying like the part where you're actually mass producing the vehicles, that's where it gets difficult. And that's why like you got stuff where and that's another plus for Aptera. Like you make a much more efficient vehicle. You use a much smaller amount of batteries because the current amount of batteries required for like Teslas, like there's not enough. And that's why they gotta do the stuff that they're doing with like making these massive battery factories and all this other kind of stuff where they're saying like if we want to succeed inside of our goal of like transitioning the world to clean energy, transitioning the world to like electric vehicles, like we have to make more batteries because there's not enough batteries like on the planet, which is crazy. Like a company is saying, hey, like this isn't good enough, we're going to have to literally like fundamentally change the number of batteries that just exist period, which is wild. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of like my thoughts on it. And like there's a couple more things that I could probably touch on. But yeah. I think I'm finally getting my stream settings where I want them to, which is really nice. I don't know if it's going out at like 720p or 1080 or what's happening. Looks like 1080, which is super nice. On Twitch you can only do like 720p. But that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I think that like I don't know where it can go from here. Like you're talking about, oh man, that's something that excites me though, and that's something like I kind of want to work on for other things. I don't know where it's gonna go, but a one-time purchase for like a lifetime of anything is crazy. I mean, obviously, like when I'm saying this, like there's still gonna be some consumables inside the car, like windshield wipers are just going to inevitably, right now with our current technology, windshield wipers don't last forever. What I think would be interesting is like, you know how Rain-X works by like taking all the smaller drops of rain and then putting it like it condenses to each other and then they get bigger and then they fly off. I don't know if it's possible. I have absolutely no idea. Just absolutely spitballing. If you could engrave something inside of the windshield panels so that it's doing essentially the same thing, like, man, I could probably hook my iPad up. That'd be okay. I'm gonna go to Paint. And all of this is based on my like incomplete knowledge of like how freaking Rain-X even works. So this could be completely wrong. But as I go over to try to get Paint working, here we go. Okay. So how do I get this to like be completely visible to me? There we go. That should be visible on screen as well. I really hope my audio levels are fine here. think they are. I'm not gonna lie, like I need to work on the breathing and like maybe slow down talking here too. But what I'm saying is you take a windshield, we're just gonna represent it with like a square here. And currently if you got the rain coming down, oh shoot. So I'm gonna go pencil, go here with the blue. Got the rain coming down on it. All the rain. And then you got the I don't know what to represent rain X with. You got like the rain X, and you toss the rain X on here. And now the rain X is gonna make all the water go this direction. Oh shoot. It's gonna make all the water go this direction. Cause it's like condensing and such. Or at least that's like what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me. Like having rain X on my car, looking at it, it looks like it condenses. Anyway, so the rain is going like this. So what I'm saying is like we're gonna just zoom in. Oh shoot. Gonna go over here. We're gonna zoom in super close. What if, hypothetically, and I might test this with acrylic because it's been a super interesting idea to me. And like, I don't even know if it'd still be visible. Obviously, like the rain X is still visible, but that's not physically like going through it. One way that I was thinking about to test this, because I've had this idea for like a while now. But one way that I was thinking about to test this is like Apple has the super expensive displays. What is this? Okay. Apple displays. It should be under Mac, I think. Probably this one. It's like way too expensive. Nano texture glass. Yeah. So, freaking heck. What is. They have like a whole definition to this. I'm one of those guys that like actually watches the keynote for Apple stuff. Which is. It's kind of a waste of time, but I buy like half of this stuff. But it is interesting to be like kind of on top of this stuff. Just it doesn't come up in conversation or anything, but it's interesting to me. Nano texture maintains long node reflectivity. Okay, let's look at this. This is supposed to be how like light is reflected off a screen with a nano texture display. So obviously, you can see through it. You can see through the display. Oh my gosh. Yes, boys. Apple has designed a display that cost yeah, $5,500 and $55.99, and you can in fact see out of it, which is pretty wild. But my idea when I was just like spitballing this was like, what if I just take this $5,500 computer and I toss it on the front of my car? I don't know how it would look through it. Like you'd have to like take the glass off, which like as much as Apple loves to make their devices repairable, that should be completely easy. But I don't know. I was just thinking that could be a good way to test it. You could probably just like use acrylic and then cut some slices into it, and then it could be similar. I'm not sure. But I don't know. I am not sure. That'd be super interesting to try though. I think that another. Let me see if I can pull the video up. I don't know how audio works for this. I mess with my settings here. Let me just go. It's like a Veritasium video. I was talking about this yesterday too. But it is. my gosh, when you recommended. Where's my like history? It's like gecko skin or something. I found it super interesting. What is this? Oh. I'm not sure what it is. It's like gecko tape. Gecko tape. Yeah, the stickiest non-sticky
This is one of the
substance.
strangest materials I have ever seen. It is not sticky at all. You can't
Y'all haven't seen my screen the entire time. I was
regular
like, okay,
tape
it's fine.
to it. But if I drape it over this tomato, it holds it up. Unless you turn it upside down, in which case it just falls off. Now, does it only stick to fruit? No, it'll stick to a water bottle or a bag of chips, basically any approximately smooth surface. And that's because this material is made to mimic gecko skin.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna skip to the part of the video where he talks about like how it's made, which is crazy. But I was watching the JL Laser video where he's talking about like trying to pretty much become Spider-Man. JL Laser, Spider-Man does whatever. Yeah.
If I can't do that, there's gonna be no way I can do stuff that Spider-Man can. So we need to shield, see? On God. Stuff and he can't control it. It's like a shield, see?
It's so cool. Trying to find the part where he's talking about
It's almost
like,
working, you know? Stone, concrete, physically
suction
impossible.
cups.
Possible. So let's dish. Center is basically the only physical store where you can get stuff like this.
Yeah. It's a suction cup. Most of them work like only on flat surfaces, I'm pretty sure. Maybe there's like more flexibility on one than the other. I'm not sure. Like even inside that video with the gecko skin, it looked like he was still using the he was still using mostly flat surfaces. Like I think at tomatoes. When I say flat, I'm not saying like you know. I'm not saying flat as in. This is upside down, I think. There we go. I'm not saying flat as in like this piece of paper is flat. I'm saying flat as in like it's not like rigid, like spiky or something. So like I guess it'd be tomato versus a like pineapple. Like I don't know how I would grab a pineapple because like certain parts of it wouldn't be super well in contact with it. I don't think for the gecko skin thing. I'm not sure. But for either one of these, like I feel like that could definitely mess them up. And inside of like the later parts of this video where he's like literally climbing a wall, like that's still
You want me to go for it?
that's still like pretty flat. Super cool stuff though. Yeah, but like look at this. It's a relatively flat surface. And like I wonder what happens if he
I can see myself in the glass.
like hits any of these edges, if that's messing him up at all.
That's really sick. And he has so much longer to go up. It's like so far from over.
Yeah, like right there, you can see that he skipped over it.
It's
Which, like
really
maybe that's
sick.
just like how he's
He has
climbing.
so much longer to go up. It's like so far from over.
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah. Anyway, to get back to like the point of what I was saying here, it is right around here, I think.
This is polymer press is used 100. The tips are around 1 or 2. A block of wax is used as the base for a mold, and then a razor blade is repeatedly pressed into the block, creating wedge-shaped indents. A silicone polymer is poured into the mold, and a backing material is attached. This is silicone?
So it's called Silguard 170,
Yeah.
Okay.
and it is a
Super interesting. First off, I would freaking love to like have some of this. I don't quite know what I would use for it. There's a part in this video somewhere where he's talking about like somebody actually climbed a wall with it. I don't remember where. It was a very short part of the video. Right here, right here.
Any one time to support his whole weight. Let me know if you want me to try to climb a building with gecko adhesive and maybe even go a little bit faster.
But yeah, that is so cool. And it looks like all you need is like like wax, a razor blade, and then the machine that's like doing it, which I don't know what it could do that with. Like it's crazy close together and precise. Maybe a 3D printer. I'm not sure if you'd have to have like absolute encoders or something. Might need something kind of funky with that, I'm not sure. But definitely super interesting. So yeah. That's been like what? 36 minutes. But yeah, Aptera, super duper cool company. Buying one thing. I didn't get to the other part of that yet. So what I was trying to say is I think it'd be super cool to have something similar to that but for like food. And I'm not sure how that would work yet. But the closest thing that I've seen is like aquaponics. Aquaponics, yeah. Where you have what's aquaponics?
What is all of these questions are before you
Alright, whatever. That video's not really explaining what's happening. And you guys were just hearing the audio anyway, but it's like right here. Basically, aquaponics is where you have both the plants right here, and you also
take
have
advantage of the plants into siphoned
fish. And the fish are eating like stuff from the plants, that's my understanding, and they're pooping. And the poop is then being used to be like fertilizer for the plants to make them grow better. So it's just like a looped system where essentially you just have like more or less infinite food. There's some stuff that you do have to add, and like fish food is one thing for sure, but it's one of those things where it's not like infinite food, but it's really good. Like it's pretty up there. And there's ways to improve the system, I'm sure, to like make it even more efficient, but I don't know. Fully automating a system like hydroponics and then just making it like way more accessible. You don't need like a massive facility or like even some like massive backyard area. Like I wonder what the smallest possible system that could like infinitely support like a loop where you're eating like a set number of food from it. And like there's probably calorie stuff, or like you don't want scurvy. Scurvy would be bad, obviously. So you're gonna have to have like a way to get vitamin C and all that stuff. But hypothetically, what is like the smallest automated system that could provide 2,000 calories a day? And could you get it to the point where like that's a one-time investment? Because like you have a car that can hypothetically be one-time purchase. You drive anywhere and it's just like hypothetically, obviously, all this stuff's supposed to happen in the next like 2 years. Potentially, if they like start coming out with them, maybe like 1 or 2 like this year. If like people are making like some big investments, like I don't know, but hypothetically, that's done. You get a house that's like paid off. There's still property taxes and stuff where it's still a bit strange, but I don't know. That's pretty much paid off. So then you got necessities, which is you have to have food, gotta have water, and you have to have shelter. So shelter, done. Food, if you have that aquaponic system where you could hypothetically just like more or less live off of that, and then some like other combined systems like hydroponics and stuff for other plants. Like there's limits to what you can grow with it, but it's definitely interesting. And then water, like depending where you live. I live in a place where I have a well. So if you have a well and you have solar, you just got heat from the solar for one, because you can power an electric heater. And you also just have as much water as in the well, which like if you're a normal human being and not like some sort of water company, you should be pretty good with the well for like a very long time. And depending on the level of like water you have, you could also do water capture, water like cleaning. I don't know what the name of that, but it's not desalination. Desalination is what you're doing with ocean water. You're taking the salt out of it. But like just cleaning normal water. Yeah, I'm not sure. But the point is, I'm pretty interested inside the aspect of what if you could, instead of paying monthly. I hate monthly subscriptions. I pay for monthly subscriptions, but like not a big fan of monthly subscriptions. What if instead of paying for stuff your entire life, you were able to save up the money, but then just like stop paying for everything? And that's where it gets super interesting to me. Because that's something that I think it's like let's say somebody says, you give me like $150,000 and I set you up where you have a way to get unlimited food. If you have excess or you want something else, like say you want to eat out 2 or 3 times a week, you have excess food, you can freeze dry it, you can like put it back somewhere so you have extra, although your system should be able to produce inside of all weathers based on like the way it's designed. You got the power from the solar panels, and then you got the car that can drive wherever for free within 1,000 miles. So like you could do 500-mile road trip and then like wait there a couple of days, and you're getting 40 miles a day and just never touch the grid. But that's just gonna be like super interesting to watch as like some of this stuff becomes more and more feasible. And I don't know, that's just something that's always been interesting to me for the past like couple years, looking at that kind of thing. There's a book about that. I think it's called Mana. I'll try to find it real quick. Pretty sure it's called Mana, but it's like 2 possible outcomes for the future of like humanity at large. And I find it super interesting. I think it's Mana, 2 Visions of Human. Yeah, 2 Visions of Humanity's Future. That's on marshallbrain.com, like for free to read. Super interesting. Basically, what happens here is you have like a software AI thing that like starts taking over people's jobs and just like automating the entire process. Like instead of minimum wage employees having to have a brain, they just have a headset on. It tells them step by step exactly what to do. That's one company. Another company gets it, starts doing the same thing. This system starts taking over hiring because there's no more managers. You don't need the managers, which are the highest paid positions at these places. The computer does it. The computer's free. Not free. I mean, there's an upfront cost. There's maybe a subscription cost, but it's way less than a human. So much less than a human. And this keeps happening. And the managers disappear. And now it's just low-wage workers. And if you're a low-wage worker that doesn't like the company, doesn't like the system, then you get put on like a naughty list, essentially. And then you can't find work. And then you have to reach out to the government. And as it goes on and on and on, it's kind of like the social credit system. Where like you can get stuck in a very bad place very quickly. and then it becomes like government housing and all this different stuff, and like basically they're living in like more or less a prison camp, but like not exactly a prison camp because they can't provide for anything, and like only the wealthy are really like living out in places where the AIs haven't taken over their jobs. But I don't know, it's just super interesting to me. And what I'm saying with that is, one system has that, the other system has all the food and stuff automated. So that's like the two different visions. One of the visions is like everything kind of gets screwed up and everyone has to just like rely on the government and all the jobs are gone and there's no like progress being made. And the other option is like all that stuff is just like kind of taken care of, or like a one-time investment. So what actually happens inside the book is they have it's like an investment fund. I think it's like $1,000. They called it tickets. There's tickets to like this future country. And if you or your parents pay for the tickets, then you get like access to this place. And if you don't, then you don't. But the startup is doing something crazy, which is they're taking all this automation, all this like technology, and they're making it so you no longer have to like work in order to eat. You no longer have to work in order to have like housing. You no longer have to work in order to have electricity, have like basic necessities. Like you're not saying like, hey, we're gonna just like give everyone like a new iPhone every year or something. Like they have technology, they got interesting stuff, and they're exporting goods to like the other countries that aren't having all this automation stuff. But once you get your ticket in, all the necessities are paid for. That's kind of like where the idea started for me, where I started thinking like, this is super interesting. And like the first aspect was like kind of terrifying, but honestly, like it'd be pretty easy to do, is what I've heard a lot of people talk about, which is interesting, kind of scary, very interesting. But the aspect of you pay a ticket price, like it wouldn't be $1,000. It'd be hundreds of thousands of dollars, like I said earlier, most likely for some of this stuff. The car's crazy. Like cars are really well priced, but like a lot of these bigger systems, I can see it being like very expensive at the beginning. Or tickets. I'm rambling. The point is, I find that concept super interesting, and this book came out like I don't even know. I don't know if it has a date on here. Yeah, there's no date on the website that I can see. But it's been super interesting to just look at, kind of see where that stuff is and like how that works. Sorry for the barking. I don't know what my dog's doing. The darkness is apparently very scary, but if you bark at it, it'll go away. In the morning, you know, when the sun comes up, it'll disappear. Good to know. All right. That's my thoughts on Aptera. That's my thoughts on a bunch of other stuff that you didn't probably look at, and the watch time will probably be awful. I didn't make a thumbnail or anything, so I don't know what's gonna happen with this, but I don't want to edit a video, so I just kind of want to talk about stuff. And yeah, I like the setup a lot better than I used to be. This mic is great. The camera is so much better than it used to be. I really need to fix the white balance. It looks completely different on like my computer screen than it does on my iPad where I'm watching it. So that needs to be fixed, but lighting could be improved. I don't know. Thanks for watching. If you did. Alright. Super interesting company. If they do everything right, they're going to be very, very hard to compete with. If they don't do everything right, probably going to just be one of the companies that say a whole bunch of stuff but never actually deliver on it. Yeah. Oh well. Thanks for watching. The fourth time. Yeah, bye.